Poolside temptation. I fell for my ex-wife's mother. The CPR wasn't working. As I pressed down on Diana's chest at the edge of the pool, watching her beautiful face grow paler by the second, a terrible truth crashed over me. I was in love with my ex-wife's mother, and I might lose her before I ever had the chance to tell her. Water streamed from her silver blonde hair across the concrete as neighbors gathered. Someone shouting about an ambulance. 3 minutes ago we'd been laughing. Now her life literally rested in my hands. Come on, Diana, breathe. I begged, my voice breaking. Everything I'd rebuilt after my divorce from her daughter was collapsing around me. The secret glances, the late-night conversations by this very pool, all potentially ending on this sun-drenched afternoon. What would people think when they discovered our hidden connection? What would my ex-wife say? None of it mattered if Diana didn't open her eyes. Her chest suddenly heaved, water sputtering from her lips as she gasped for air. Relief flooded through me, but as our eyes met, I knew we'd crossed a threshold from which there was no return. The mystery of how a respected 52-year-old interior designer and a 38-year-old architect had found themselves in this forbidden attraction was about to unravel before everyone we knew. If you've ever found yourself caught between impossible choices, you'll understand the journey we're about to share. I met Diana Lawson again at her daughter, my ex-wife, Melissa's wedding to her new husband. Awkward doesn't begin to describe standing at the open bar, watching the woman who had once been your wife dancing with someone else. That's when Diana appeared beside me, her elegant figure draped in midnight blue silk that complemented her fair skin and those knowing eyes that had always seen right through me. "You're handling this better than I expected, Jack," she said, ordering a martini with practiced grace. "What choice do I have?" I replied, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Though I'm not sure why I was invited. Because Melissa still cares about you despite everything." Diana's gaze was direct, unflinching. "And because I asked her to." That unexpected revelation left me speechless. If you're enjoying this story of complicated emotions and forbidden attraction, make sure to like and subscribe for more content that explores the messy reality of human relationships. The months that followed brought Diana and me together in unexpected ways. Her interior design firm was hired for a building my architecture company had designed. Professional meetings turned into coffee discussions, then dinners where we carefully avoided mentioning Melissa. Diana was everything her daughter wasn't: patient, thoughtful, with a sharp wit that matched my own. At 52, she carried herself with a confidence that made her more beautiful than women half her age, her long silver blonde hair often catching the light when she laughed at my jokes. "You know this is complicated, right?" she said one evening as we lingered over wine, the restaurant nearly empty around us. "Complicated is my specialty," I answered, surprising myself by reaching across the table to touch her hand. The electricity between us was undeniable, but so were the consequences of acting on it. What neither of us knew was that we were being watched. Melissa had suspected something for weeks, her jealousy growing despite having moved on herself. The confrontation that followed would test loyalties and force secrets into the open that had been buried for decades. I stood frozen in Diana's elegant living room as Melissa hurled accusations, her face contorted with rage. "My own mother? Really, Jack? Was this your plan all along?" "There was never any plan," I insisted, while Diana remained eerily calm. "Tell her, Diana," Melissa demanded. "Tell him what you never told anyone." Diana's face went pale. "This isn't the time. Tell him who his father really was." The world seemed to stop spinning. What was Melissa saying? My father had died when I was 2. I barely remembered him. The implications of her words hung in the air like a physical presence. Could this attraction between Diana and me be hiding something far more disturbing? I felt sick, the room tilting around me as I waited for Diana to speak. The silence stretched unbearably until Diana finally whispered, "She's lying, Jack. But there is something you need to know." What revelation could possibly explain the complex web we'd woven? If you're on the edge of your seat wondering what happens next, drop a comment with your theories and make sure to share this story with friends who appreciate complex emotional dramas. Diana's hands trembled as she poured herself a drink. "Your father and I knew each other, Jack. Before he met your mother, before I met Melissa's father. We were engaged." The floor seemed to drop from beneath me. "What?" When he died, I couldn't bear to stay in touch with your mother. It was too painful. I never expected our children would meet, let alone marry. Her eyes met mine, filled with decades of unspoken grief. What's happening between us now isn't wrong in the way Melissa thinks, but it's complicated by history she doesn't fully understand. Melissa stood speechless, her accusation having backfired. The revelation explained the strange familiarity I'd always felt with Diana, but created new questions. Had my failed marriage to Melissa been somehow influenced by this hidden connection? Was my attraction to Diana some psychological echo of my father's past? I need time, I said, backing toward the door. This is too much. For weeks I avoided them both, throwing myself into work while trying to sort through the tangled emotions. It was during this separation that Diana suffered her first fainting spell, the early warning of the condition that would later lead to her poolside collapse. When Melissa called to tell me Diana was in the hospital, I realized that regardless of our complicated past, my feelings were real and present. The hospital corridor stretched endlessly as I rushed toward her room, flowers clutched in my hand like some cliched movie scene. But this was our reality, messy, complicated, and utterly human. When I rounded the corner and saw her sitting up in bed, color returned to her cheeks, something broke loose inside me. I don't care about the past, I said without preamble. I care about now. About us. Diana's smile was cautious but real. Melissa will never accept this. She doesn't have to. She moved on. So can we. That decision led us to 3 months of secret happiness. Quiet dinners at my place. Weekend drives to coastal towns where nobody knew us. And yes, afternoons by Diana's pool, where she would swim laps with athletic grace that belied her age, her fair skin glistening in the sunlight. We were careful, responsible, and utterly foolishly in love. Until the day of the collapse. Until CPR and ambulances and the secret spilling out as neighbors watched me desperately trying to save the woman I loved. If this story of forbidden love against all odds resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that explores the complex nature of human relationships. The diagnosis was a rare heart condition, treatable but serious. As Diana recovered in the hospital, the whispers began. My phone filled with messages from mutual friends, from distant acquaintances, and finally from Melissa herself. Is it true? Her text read simply. Yes, I replied after long consideration. I love her. The 3 words hung between us, digital but definitive. Her response came hours later. Make her happy. She deserves it after everything. It wasn't forgiveness, not exactly. But it was acknowledgement, and sometimes that's where healing begins. 6 months later, Diana and I sat by that same pool, her recovery complete, our relationship now in the open. Her hand rested in mine, the evening light catching the silver in her hair. Do you ever regret it? I asked. All the complications, the talk, the judgment? Diana turned to me, her intelligent eyes holding mine. The only thing I've learned for certain is that life is too short for regrets. Love comes in unexpected packages at unexpected times. Our job is simply to be brave enough to recognize it. As the sun set over the water, casting golden light across her fair skin, I knew she was right. Sometimes the most beautiful stories are the ones that break all the rules, that force us to question our assumptions about age, about family, about what love should look like. If our journey has touched you, if you've ever found yourself facing impossible choices for the sake of love, share this story with someone who needs to hear that sometimes the heart knows better than society's expectations. Like and subscribe for more stories that explore the beautiful complexity of human connection. Because in the end, that's what saved Diana's life by that poolside. Not just CPR, but the connection between 2 people who had found each other against all odds. And perhaps that's the most important lesson. Love, in whatever form it takes, is always worth fighting for.